Welcome to my channel. My name's John and I'm the Geeky Man, and today I'm going following and locating the forgotten canal known as the Hollinwood branch canal. So let's crack on. Welcome to Lock 18 here on the Ashton canal. Right down there is actually Manchester city centre, and over that way it takes you into Ashton under line. But what we're going to do now is we're going to go and locate the actual entrance of where the Hollinwood canal would have started. So here's Droylsden Marina as it's known today. It was originally Fairfield Junction, and this is where the start of the Hollinwood canal was. Let's go and take a look. As you can see, it's completely overgrown at the moment. Anyone walking down here probably wouldn't know that it was originally a canal. I'll be honest with you, I'm taking a bit of a risk again today, just wearing a t-shirt. It is a little bit nippy, so I just hope spring hurries up. But let's go and take a look. Again, completely overgrown. Looks a bit dodgy down here, but we'll take a look anyway. Okay, so we've got our first bit of evidence of what would have been part of the canal. You can see the stonework here that would have been the path for it. Let's go and take a look inside. Got to be very careful entering in here. Again, yes, you can see that path there. So here we are. And obviously the canal would have run on this side. There is a big wall that's been bricked up there, which, in all honesty, even if it wasn't there, I probably wouldn't have followed down here today. I've not really got the right equipment. Let's pop back outside. So I am going to be looking for the rest of the canal in a moment, but there's just one more place I want to visit before we continue on our adventure. So you're probably thinking to yourself, Geeky Man, what's so interesting about a supermarket? Well, this is actually the location of W.M. Christie's & Son, and in 1851 they produced the first machine woven towel known as the terry towel. Just want to quickly again show you where there's some evidence of where the canal would have ran. When I was in that tunnel, you could see that there was that brick wall built up, and this is obviously the other side of it. The canal would have ran all the way along here. So let's have some geeky facts before we go to our next location. The Hollinwood Branch Canal was a canal near Hollinwood in Oldham, England. It left the main line of the Ashton Canal at Fairfield Junction, immediately above Lock 18. It was just over 4.5 miles long and went through Droylsden and Waterhouses to terminate at Hollinwood Basin. It rose through 4 locks at Waterhouses, Lock 19 to 22, and another 4 at Hollinwood, Lock 23 to 26. Its main purpose was to carry coal from numerous local collieries to many mills and factories in the neighbourhood of the Ashton Canal. The canal was extensively used until 1928, when trade began to decline rapidly. It was not until 1955 that most of it was officially closed, and the short remaining section at Fairfield Junction closed in 1961.
So as you've probably seen, the vast majority of the canal within Droylsden Centre and Droylsden as a whole has been built over. This section here is where the canal would have ran along. And what we're going to do is we're going to follow it now and we're going to locate the remaining parts of the original canal. Welcome to Medlock Valley. Now we're starting to see some evidence here of where the actual canal is. So today it's actually, this part of it has actually been turned into a nature reserve, and as you can probably see, which we'll show you in a moment, with the amount of overgrowns and weeds, etc. See, we'll take a look now. But yeah, certainly this is now the proper part of the canal. So what we'll do is we'll continue our walk and carry on to our next location. So the reason I stopped off here is I wanted to give you a bit of a sense of what it actually would have looked like at the time of the construction of the canal. Apart from Droylsden and its factories and mills and small population of homes that it had there, the vast majority of this area would have been fields, just like round here. So certainly this section of the canal has not really changed in that much since the canal's construction. So what we'll do is we'll carry on, and we're going to head over now to Daisy Nook, where there's quite a few interesting historic facts and places to go and have a look at. I'm just sat on a bench here at the John Haworth Countryside Centre here in Daisy Nook. Now, Daisy Nook's name actually originates from a book from a gentleman called Benjamin Burley, and it was titled A Day Out or a Summer Ramble. Now, Bailey had actually asked his friend Charles Potter, who was an artist from Oldham, to actually do a portrait for this book. He came here to Woodhouses and used it as inspiration for the drawing, and that's how Daisy Nook got his name, and it stuck. So what we'll do now is we'll head over and have a look around and see what we can find in regards to the canal. So we can obviously see some evidence here of the canal again. So the section I'm going to be entering is what was known as Dark Tunnel. Quite interestingly, I was reading that in Victorian times, it was quite a place for people to come and visit, to experience walking through it, because of its eerie experience. It's obviously a little bit more dangerous today with the wild dogs roaming Tameside. Now, of course, it is completely opened as of today. And this was due to some constructional damage that happened in the 1920s, and it looks now of how it looks. So you can see that I'm obviously on the pathway, and then this is where the canal would have ran along. What we'll do is we'll continue our little walk and go to our next location. We're now at where Dark Tunnel would have ended, and the canal would have followed on here to the first lock here at Woodhouses. Now, before we go into more detail about the different locks, I want to go and have a quick look at the aqueduct that goes over, but I want to take a look from ground level. So this is the River Medlock that runs through here, and obviously why the valley gets its name, the Medlock Valley. Now, the aqueduct in front of us is actually a single arch so we can take a look from here, just so we can get a better perspective of it. So I'm just going to head over the aqueduct now, and we'll go and have a look at the first lock. You can see here how it would have narrowed, and obviously the barges would have come across the aqueduct. Let's take a look at the river. And again, how it completely narrowed. And you can see that it starts to open up here again, and then it leads us onto what would have been the first lock. It's an absolutely beautiful place, Daisy Nook, and it's, in all honesty, it's been a while since I've come here quite consistently since a child, so it certainly does have a place in my heart. And here it is, and this is where the first lock would have been, here at Woodhouses. So let's head up the hill and have a look at the next lot of locks. So this is the top of the first lock. I just wanted to give you a bit more an aerial view, really. We'll take a walk along it and see if we can find any more evidence of the canal. Of course, this would have been a lot deeper, and as the barges would have passed through, there's another section which I'm going to show you in a moment, where they would have waited, you know, just to take their turns, because obviously it's very, very narrow, and this would have been extremely busy at the time. Now, I'm certainly not a canal expert. I'm not an expert in anything, in all honesty. So if anyone is watching this and knows anything specifics of places and areas which they feel they would like to comment on, please leave comments down below. Here we go. So yeah, if anyone is watching this and know what they may have been used for, that would be really great if you could leave a comment for me, please. That was quite interesting. I'm guessing a rope for the barge would have been tied round it, but that's just me presuming. So yeah, here we go. Just watch me footing, because it is a bit wet and I haven't got the greatest of footwear on today. So yeah, they would have come into here, and just over there we'll take a proper look at them at the moment, but there's where the next two locks are. Now apparently, just on this side, there was a James Watts pumping engine, and it was used to pump water within the locks. Interesting. Let's go and take a closer look at the next two locks. So let's take a closer look at these next two locks. I do like the old cobbles that are on the walkway next to it. Now this is called a lock staircase. Apparently it's quite unusual, but again, I'm not an expert, as I've clearly stated a few times in this video. Let's take a closer look anyway. Fantastic, some more evidence here. And just across the way as well. Let's go and take a look at the next one. and as you can see, it would have run all the way over into here. Now today, the area itself, as you've probably seen with the amount of people walking around it, is a nature reserve. So you do get a lot of bird watchers, dog walkers, people coming out on days out. There are even some fishing that goes on around the area as well. So obviously it's very, very popular now. And what would be interesting is the amount of people that would have known about its history with its canal history anyway. So yeah, let's go and take a look at our next location. I'm now in front of another branch canal known as Fairbottom. Now I'm not going to go into too much detail about this particular canal, as it is going to be included in my next video, spoiler alerts. But I'm going to head along this canal now, and we're going to go to our final location for the day. So let's crack on. So this is where the Hollinwood and the Fairbottom branch canals met. But before we head on to Crime Lake, which is the last location we're going to go and visit, I just wanted to show you this, which was quite interesting. Now this was the last lock that comes onto here, and it has been filled in at this section over here. But as you can see, here's the remains of the lock that's been completely filled in. The lock gate, sorry, should I say. I think that's quite an interesting and tasteful piece of work, and certainly a very good bench to sit on as you're having a nice walk through here. Let's carry on. This is called Valley Aqueduct, and as you can see, it's only a very, very small aqueduct. But I just wanted to quickly show you something of a little bit of interest. Now that road that runs through there is actually an old coach road that ran from Ashton on the line to Droylsden. Interesting. Welcome to Crime Lake. So, time for some geeky facts.
Crime Lake is a small, shallow lake. The lake was formed in 1794 as an unintended result of canal works. At the time of construction, a culvert was built under the canal to accommodate a brook that served bypassed its course. A landslip blocks the culvert, and the waters were impounded on the offside of the canal, eventually merging with the canal to form the lake. The name Crime may have come from a local word for meadow, or after a sinister murder that took place along the canal many years ago. Ellis Lowry depicted the lake as it was in 1972 in a painting called Crime Lake.
So in regards to Lowry, he actually had another painting of Daisy Nook, which was called Good Friday Daisy Nook. In 2007, it was sold at auction, and it was the highest ever price paid for a Lowry picture in an auction. Interesting. And here is the end of the canal. Now, like in Droylsden, the remaining part of the canal is completely been built over with different factories, houses, buildings, etc. So there's not really anything visible that I'm going to be able to locate as it heads its way up to Hollinwood. So this has been today's video. In my next video, I'm going to be visiting Park Bridge and discovering the industrial history of the area. So, until next time, peace and love.